Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Kindness Rising, your morning dose of hope, humanity, and heart. Absolutely. First question, have you ever had an idea and immediately asked whether it would work? Not is it worth exploring? Not what could I learn? Not what is the smallest way I could test it? Just can someone guarantee this will work before I risk looking stupid? We all want evidence, preferably notarized with references and a money-back guarantee, and at least 3 examples of people exactly like us who tried the exact same thing and experienced no problems or embarrassment whatsoever. Unfortunately, the future is extremely uncooperative. Sometimes the evidence does not come before the beginning. Sometimes the beginning creates the evidence. Welcome in. Welcome to Kindness Rising. I'm so glad that you have joined us here today. So happy as we get up and after it this morning with a little bit of positivity, more high fives for humanity, and less rage bait. And we continue with our Without a Net series. We're in the final week of this journey, and our theme is Believe Bigger. Believe Bigger. On Monday, we talked about acting as if, moving before confidence fully arrives. On Tuesday, we remembered that we are still becoming, that our current season is not our permanent identity. And yesterday, we talked about finding meaning, even inside circumstances we did not choose. Today, we turn towards something we may be able to change, but only if we move. Because inspiration is wonderful. Ideas are exciting. Possibility feels great right up until possibility asks you to do something. Then inspiration becomes inconvenient because eventually that idea wants an email, a phone call, the first draft, a prototype, a public attempt of some kind. Robert Hunter wrote, "Inspiration moved me brightly." Move me, not reassure me, not guarantee me, move me. Today's lesson is begin before the evidence. Good morning, Jess. Good morning, Roseanne. Good morning, everyone else out there this morning in Kindness Rising Land, where we give more high fives for humanity and less rage bait. Less rage bait because we want to wake up on the right side of the bed and get going. And just have a positive, excellent moment of openness and interest. Let's do it. And we always here on Kindness Rising give you 3 clues throughout the episode, 3 clues every single day to guess our Who in the World challenge. Who in the World challenge, a challenge about someone who's leaning into the subject we're talking about for the day or has something important to teach us. Absolutely. Clue number 1 today. This person wrote much of his early projects during his first career as a teacher. That's the first clue. A teacher who was writing during his career there, and we'll get to the other 2 clues throughout the half hour this morning. Stick around with us till 8 o'clock. That's what we do every morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, here on Kindness Rising. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like and share. We're here to build a community of kindness, the kindness crew led by people like Jess and Mike Sullivan and Roseanne. Yes, we are a community. And part of our community mission is to do this, to highlight organizations doing good work for good people. And that's what we'll do again today with our Kindness Spotlight. Like I said, every day we highlight an organization doing good work for good people, and today is no different. Today's spotlight belongs to an organization that understands something every writer. Oh geez, I just showed you the freaking writer. I hit the wrong button. I did that twice this week. Okay, life happens. Now you know the answer, but we'll just keep going. Today's spotlight belongs to an organization that understands something every writer eventually learns. The blank page will not prove that you have a story. You have to begin. This is an organization called 826 National Youth Writing. They help young people develop their voices through writing, tutoring, and publishing. Students write stories, essays, poems, and personal reflections, but the most important moment may come before any of that. It's the moment a young person looks at an empty page and decides, I have something worth saying. 826 National does not expect students to arrive with their polished voice. It gives them the place to develop one. They write, they revise, they read their work aloud and try again. And gradually they create evidence that they are capable of more than they assume. A first draft is not a failed final draft. It's the first piece of evidence that the story exists. And so today we shine the spotlight on 826 National and on every young writer willing to place one imperfect sentence on an empty page. Because sometimes the future begins with 4 words. Once upon a time. That's 826 National. Check out their website. Check out the stories that these kids are reading. And that spotlight's important to me too, personally. It's very important to me personally because I have a kid who's now a full-grown adult, 21 years old, who's working on writing as well, and I support that entirely. All of us putting our ideas to paper, our thoughts to share. That's the point, to share. I love stories. I love to write. Sure, writing has an important internal perspective, internal impact, but I'm talking about sharing it. That's where your impact really grows. Good morning, Sully. Good morning, Sully. Busy? Oh, good. I flashed too quickly. I'm glad. Jess? All right. Everybody else out there, subscribe to the channel. Get involved in the community. Join us on our mission to have more high fives for humanity and less rage bait in the morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Get up on the right side of the bed with more high fives for humanity. And listen to our wait. That happened today. Yep, a story from history. A little story from history that happened on this very day in history that might, again, illuminate our subject. And we're not going that far back. I'm sure every one of us perhaps remembers this. It was only 2012, August 6th, 2012. NASA's Curiosity rover landed on Mars, and the landing sequence was so complex and dangerous, the engineers referred to it as the 7 minutes of terror. That's a comforting name. Nothing says confidence like calling the final stage of your billion-dollar space mission. Terror. Curiosity entered the Martian atmosphere at tremendous speed. It had to slow down using the atmosphere, deploy a parachute, release a heat shield, use powered rockets, then perform one of the strangest landing maneuvers ever attempted. It was a sky crane that lowered the rover onto the cables and placed it gently onto Mars. Oh yeah, there's another complication. Mars is so far away from Earth that there's a time delay. Radio signals took roughly 14 minutes to reach mission control, and the landing itself took 7 minutes, which meant the team on Earth received confirmation that this descent had begun. The Curiosity had already landed successfully, or it had already been destroyed. They couldn't steer it in real time. They could not make last-second adjustments. They couldn't pause and say, you know what? We'd like a little more evidence before proceeding. The sequence had to unfold on its own. Yep. Oh boy, I lost my place. Yes. Yep. Remember, NASA didn't do this recklessly. They did not strap a robot to a rocket and point vaguely upward. They spent years, calculated, modeled, but in the end, they had to let go and let Curiosity land itself. But minutes later, when that signal re-earthed, Curiosity had landed and was exploring Mars, the team learned that they could trust the work they had already done. And yes, that happened. That was the point. The work they had already done happened, and they had to trust it. All right. How about our second clue for today? Anybody ready for another clue? How about you say, Maddie, get a clue. Get a clue. I don't know where my... Okay, we're still having fun. Second clue, second clue, second clue, second clue. We'll sing the second clue song. There it is. He found inspiration for his most acclaimed project while reading a book on vacation. Remember our first clue that he was a teacher and wrote much of his early work during that career. And the second clue, he found inspiration for his most acclaimed project while reading on vacation. Uh, okay, Sully, I gotta ask you the question. Were you ironing the shirt while it was on you? That's my question. Were you ironing the shirt while it was on you? That's the question of the day. All right, let's move on to another question. Another question. All right. Not another question, another segment. That's what I'm trying to say. Another segment. All right. Now is where we geek out a little bit with our research and our research about self-efficacy. It's a concept strongly associated with a psychologist named Albert Bandura, and it refers to our belief in our ability to organize and carry out actions that are needed to handle a situation. It doesn't mean believing everything will work perfectly or assuming you'll succeed at everything you attempt. And it definitely doesn't mean shouting affirmations at yourself in the mirror until your reflection becomes uncomfortable. Self-efficacy is more grounded than that. It's the belief that I can respond and learn and adjust and take the next action. One of the most important sources of self-efficacy is what Bandura described as mastery experiences. In other words, you try something, you handle part of it, you learn from what doesn't work, and you make an adjustment, then you try again. And gradually you gather evidence that you can respond. We often assume the sequence works like this: confidence, then action, then results. But much of the time, the sequence looks more like this: action, experience, evidence, greater confidence. Confidence isn't always the ticket required for action. Sometimes confidence is the receipt that action gives you afterwards. It's why waiting to feel completely confident can become such an effective way. Such an effective way. I'm waiting until I'm confident. Oh, just one more thing. I gotta wait till I'm confident. I got these itches on my face. Wait till I'm confident. No, that's not it. That's the easiest way to remain stuck. Because it feels like you're waiting for something and you're working on something you created but you're avoiding. This is the important leadership lesson. Leaders often say we want people to grow. We want people to step up. We want them to become more confident. Then we withhold every meaningful opportunity until they've proven they can do it. Some abilities cannot be demonstrated in theory. Some have to be led. Some has to lead the meeting. Someone has to present the proposal, handle the client, or try the new responsibility. It doesn't mean throwing people into situations without support or abandoning your standards. It just means creating a responsible first attempt. Clear expectations, real support, useful feedback, enough safety to learn without treating every mistake as someone's permanent identity. Remember, the first attempt is not the final exam. It's evidence collection. It's true for employees, students, artists, writers, and anyone trying to become something that they have not become before. The first attempt is not the final exam. It is the evidence collection. Ronald Aaron Lopez, welcome to planet Earth. Ronald Aaron Lopez, haven't yet been placed into a helicopter aircraft. All right, cool. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Oh, you iron. Okay, thanks, Sully. I appreciate that. I'm like, oh my gosh. Sully's ironing his shirt while it's still on. I'd have to have a conversation about that. Yeah. Oh, I know that, Sully. That was not in any kind of a way a judgment. It does happen. Trust me. I have burns on my body from bumping into things or grabbing doing stupid stuff, grabbing pans. Like, oh, wait, telling myself it's hot and then grabbing it anyway. I've done that. Anyway, there's no judgment in it, buddy. I was just curious. I actually think it would be really funny. If you're like, I gotta run, but this wrinkle, it's got me. Ah! I bet it happens all the time. Oh my gosh. All right. Thanks for joining and sticking around for sure. I appreciate it. I'm glad you feel better, Sully. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. Just keep powering through. Just keep powering through. No judgment, just fun. All right. Without a net. Without a net. That's my whole life. Right? Without a net. Before the first kindness live stream. Oh, I'm going to talk about this. Before the first time I ever went. Holy moly. I had no evidence what was needed. That there was a morning show was important to anyone. Anyone, no matter what size. I was like, all right. But I had that whole idea. One person, maybe one person shows up. The internet isn't exactly suffering for more voices, but they are shortage of voices that do this. Kindness rising, getting up, positivity. That's what I uh, that's what I decided to do. Yep, yep. And certainly the world doesn't need just one more middle-aged man with a microphone and possibly a bandana and a missing tooth. I didn't know that. I didn't know whether anyone would watch or I could sustain or the technology would cooperate. This combination that I'm trying to build and mold over time, kindness, humor, storytelling, whatever else happened to go through my brain, whatever. I didn't know. I just didn't know whether I would be comfortable doing this. Sure, I knew that I could possibly grow into something. I had preparation, experience, ideas, and instincts, but I did not have any proof. And there was no way to get the proof until turning on the camera. And I'm still building my proof. That's the part we sometimes miss. We think clarity is supposed to come first. First, I'll understand the vision, then I'll begin. First, I'll know exactly what the audience wants, then I'll create. First, I'll know whether I can sustain the work, then I'll try. The first episodes were not the finished show, and it's still not finished. You know that. Some segments are working, some don't. Some ideas become part of the format, and others just quietly disappear. And we don't speak of them anymore, although sometimes we do remember. The technology is evolving, the things are changing. My voice is starting to become clearer, I feel like, through repetition and through connection and comfort. The show has taught me what the show needed to become. I didn't discover the show and then begin creating it. I began creating and gradually discovered what the show could become. This is one of the biggest lessons this experience has taught me. Beginnings rarely arrive as from some fully formed declaration. We like to imagine a moment. This is my new business, my new book, my calling, my grand vision. But most beginnings are actually quieter. A pilot, a draft, an idea, a rough concept, maybe a small public attempt, an experiment that you're not sure yet how to describe. The first version doesn't have to justify the entire dream. It only has to teach you enough to create the next version. The first step doesn't have to justify the whole journey. It only has to make the second step possible. Think about how much pressure that removes. You don't have to prove that the entire business is going to work today. Yeah, you may need to talk to a potential customer. You don't have to prove that you can write an entire book. Maybe you have to write one page, one paragraph. You don't have to prove that you can completely invent your career. You just need to make a call. Take one class. Have one conversation. You do not have to prove that you are a creator. You may just need to create one useful thing. Yep. Yep. And we want to just keep doing this, repeating it in public, over. That's what I've been doing. Starting uncomfortable and repeating. Reps, reps, reps. It's so simple, right? It's a very efficient personal development strategy if your goal is to grow slowly and grow over time. That's what each episode is creating here, creating evidence. I can do this. I can recover when something goes wrong. I can improve and find my voice, build my rhythm, and create my connection. The evidence is coming after the beginning. Yep, because some evidence doesn't come until someone goes first. And sometimes the person who has to go first is you. Thank you for joining me here on Kindness Rising every single day, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, where we get up and get after it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Get involved in the chat with awesome people like Mike Sullivan and Ronald Aaron Lopez, who came to join us today, and Roseanne and Jess, who both are listening and doing other things, and I appreciate that. That's what we do. People pop in and out. You can listen. That was what I hoped would happen, and now you're helping me prove it. You're helping me prove it by coming back every single day, and you help me. It motivates me to come back every day. There are days when I didn't want to come back. You got to get up and do this right now. I don't want to. But then I do. Then I do want it. I actually love doing it 99.5% of the days. All right. Let's get into something else here. Something else that'll be some kind of fun here. We're doing all right. Okay. We're guessing. We're on our Who's Who, Clue 3. I think perhaps I flashed it earlier. Howdy from Erie, Jerry. I did not know that. Thank you for telling me that. I love seeing where you're from. Jerry Ginger's out there doing his daily walkabouts with his animals and sharing his gingerbread life. But I didn't know it was happening in Erie. Oh, you're in Erie, PA. Okay, never mind. You're on the road. Okay. All right. Well, on the road again. Jerry Ginger's on the road again. Wrote much of his early projects during his first career as a teacher. Clue number 2, he found inspiration for his most acclaimed project while reading on vacation. Brienne, welcome. How's it going? Oh, you guys might not see Brienne's comment. She's over on LinkedIn joining. I am so glad you're here. Yep, I'm still doing it, Brienne, every single day. Every single day. Are you coming back to us? What's going on? Come see me on LinkedIn. I'd love to talk to you, Brienne. Oh, you're headed to Utica. Dude, that's right around the block from me. All right, we're clue number 2, finding inspiration for his most acclaimed project. I'm going to get back to Jerry and Brienne after I give you this third clue. He transformed a chapter of American history into a cultural phenomenon built around rhythm, rhyme, and reinvention. Yep. Sully, I think you put his name out there. Yep. All right. Let's do our compass and we'll get back to chatting with Brienne and Jerry and Sully and Roseanne and Jess and whoever the heck else wants to jump in and say hello. Good luck in Utica, Jerry. We'll talk about Utica in a second because that's like literally right around the block. All right. Here's today's kindness compass. We're going to do that instead, and then we'll use our last few minutes to yakety yak. Here is today's kindness compass. Think about one thing you've been researching. You've been discussing it, planning it, or imagining it without actually testing it. Maybe it's a business idea, a creative project, or maybe it's just a simple conversation that you want to have with somebody. How about a new habit? Mom, you and I were talking about new habits yesterday. Now ask, what is the smallest responsible action that would create new evidence? Not the biggest action, not the most dramatic, the smallest responsible action. You're not launching your entire business. You're talking to one potential customer. You're not writing the entire book, just one page. Maybe you're building one lesson in a course. You don't have to redesign your whole life. Just make one appointment. Don't wait until you feel like a creator. Publish one useful thing. And don't demand certainty about a relationship. Just have one honest conversation. That's it. Don't make the whole dream prove itself today. Create one piece of evidence and begin anyway. That's it. That's the kindness compass. Yes. Aww. Go get your baby, Brienne. Yep. God, that baby's got to be getting big. It's got to be 6 or 7 months now, right? Anyway, for aid, yes. Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's Sully's comment right there. Today, who in the world is Lin-Manuel Miranda, the guy I flashed at you earlier? There he is. Hey, Lin. He was reading Ron Chernow's biography. Did anybody read it? The biography of Alexander Hamilton? While on vacation, and he began imagining his life, Hamilton's life, through the language of energy and hip-hop. Whew! Alexander Hamilton and hip-hop? About America's founding fathers? It didn't come with obvious evidence that Broadway audience were waiting for it. Not for sure. Before the full musical exists, Miranda performed an early version of that opening song, right, at the White House event. When he explained what he was about to do, the audience actually laughed. Understandably, it sounded like a joke, and then he performed and the laughter changed. Because suddenly the idea no longer needed an explanation. It was an experience, and that's important. Lynn did not begin with evidence that audience wanted a hip-hop musical about Hamilton. The audience could not ask for something it had never seen. He wrote one song, then another, kept developing the idea, researched, revised, tested, performed, listened, and built, until something that once sounded ridiculous began to feel just inevitable. Some ideas only sound obvious after someone survives being the first person to say them out loud, because for Lynn, the evidence didn't create the beginning created the evidence. That's Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yes. All right, Brienne, go feed your baby if you haven't already. Sully, thanks for sticking around and guessing. Does anybody want to share their thoughts about Hamilton or Lin-Manuel? I'd love to hear them. Did you see Hamilton? I saw it in the secondary run, and of course the movie several times. And yeah, I was obsessed for a while myself, for sure. Obsessed with Hamilton. It was on, and I will highly recommend to you, if you haven't already experienced it, even though it's not the hottest pop culture thing right now. But see you around, Jerry. Thanks for coming. Go walk your dogs. What? Sounds like a wheelchair filmed with FDR is on a wheelchair with machine guns. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Have you seen it, Sully? Have you seen Hamilton? I don't know about an FDR movie in a wheelchair with machine guns, but I might be interested in that. Interesting idea. But if you haven't seen Hamilton, I highly recommend it. And the point that I was also trying to make is... what was the other point I'm trying to make? Hamilton, I don't know. Oh, it's called the Hamilton Mixtape on Spotify. If you get into Hamilton and you know the story and you start to get to know the music, listen to the Hamilton Mixtape. It's other artists interpreting Hamilton, and it's actually really, really good. Really good. And Sully, I would highly recommend that you check out Hamilton as a cultural experience. And I know you're into the history, so you should definitely do it. It streams on the Disney, I think, and you can probably find it on YouTube and other things if you're interested. And not just Sully, everybody out there, I recommend Hamilton too. Absolutely. Groundbreaking and super entertaining and interesting. You got to watch it a couple of times or have the I would also recommend, actually, if you're going to watch it on Disney, have the subtitles on, because they go fast and the words are important. They're good. All right, we're winding down here on Kindness Rising, your opener for Mornings in the Lab. Hello, Sphered Rook. Yep, you are here. It is you again. Thanks for joining in the morning, 7:30 a.m. This is my background every single morning, 7:30 a.m. I'm down here in my little studio, and then when I go live other places too. So get used to seeing this background if you're joining at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. All right, let's do this thing. Let's weave the thread. That's what we do at the end of every show. We weave the thread. Robert Hunter wrote, "Inspiration moved me brightly." Move me. Not reassure me, not guarantee me, not provide complete evidence of where this will end. Just move me. On Monday, we acted as if. Tuesday, we remembered that we were still becoming. And Wednesday, we looked for meaning inside a difficult room. Today, we begin not recklessly, not blindly, not without preparation. We begin because there becomes a moment when another hour of thinking is not going to produce another useful answer. The answer is waiting inside the attempt, and some evidence can't exist until someone goes first. So write the first sentence, sing the song, run the experiment, and make the call. Build version 1, because the first attempt is not the final exam. It's evidence collection. The first step doesn't have to justify the whole journey. It only has to make the second step possible. So begin before all the evidence arrives, because some of the evidence is waiting for you to create it. And we'll continue creating evidence tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, right here on Kindness Rising. Until then, stay uncommon and stay kind.